Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we've got a brand new explainer, and this one is going to absolutely demystify the entire journey of learning a new language. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by the idea of learning French, or maybe you're just stuck in a rut trying to string a sentence together, you're in the exact right place. We're going to break down the French language journey using a super practical, highly structured toolkit that we've pulled straight from expert sources, academic syllabi, and massive communities of successful language learners. We are turning that dream of speaking French into a concrete, actionable blueprint.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. First, the timeline to fluency. Second, at-home French immersion. Third, mastering VU versus TU. Fourth, essential French grammar pillars. And finally, top free learning resources.
Starting right off with Section 1, the timeline to fluency.
Now, this tackles the very first core anxiety of absolutely every language learner. Before you even try to memorize a single verb, you want to know exactly what kind of time commitment we're talking about here. So, how many hours do you think it actually takes to learn French? Seriously, take a guess. Are we talking about a fun 30-day challenge or a grueling decade-long journey? Let's get a reality check. Well, according to the Foreign Service Institute, the magic number is somewhere between 600 and 750 class hours. You see, French is officially classified as a Category 1 language for English speakers. Because of the sheer amount of historical overlap between English and French, and because it's a Romance language, it's actually one of the more accessible languages for us to pick up. But hey, 600 to 750 hours is still a very real, massive commitment. We're talking roughly 24 to 30 weeks of intensive, full-time study. And this brilliantly illustrates how those hours actually break down chronologically. If you're just aiming for basic fluency, where you can handle simple conversations and everyday survival situations, you're looking at 3 to 6 months. That's about 250 to 350 hours. Now, intermediate fluency, where you can genuinely discuss complex topics and follow along with detailed conversations, that'll take about 6 to 12 months, hitting that 500 to 600 hour mark. And for advanced fluency, that effortless professional level conversation, you're looking at 1 to 2 years and well over 1,200 hours. The biggest takeaway from our sources here is consistency. A short daily habit is proven to be way more effective than irregular marathon study binges.
Moving right along to Section 2, at-home French immersion. So, we know you need hundreds of hours of exposure, but you absolutely do not need an expensive plane ticket to France to surround yourself with a language. Our sources outline 5 completely actionable steps to hack your daily environment right from your couch. Step 1, transform your digital world. Seriously, switch your phone, your laptop, even your Google search engine over to French. It forces practical daily engagement. Step 2 is writing a mock speech. Step 3, find native speakers, either locally or online. Step 4 is connecting with other learners, because honestly, teaching someone else actually solidifies your own understanding. And Step 5, reward yourself with leisure. Watching a 30-minute TV show or listening to a podcast in French builds these really powerful daily habits, but it doesn't feel like traditional studying. Now, I want to isolate Step 2 for a second, writing a mock speech, because of this one vital concept. Context is king. Our sources emphasize that if you pretend you have to give a speech on, say, your favorite hobby, you are inevitably going to hit roadblocks. But writing out a long, connected train of thought exposes your exact weaknesses and the specific vocabulary gaps you have. More importantly, learning words when they're surrounded by other words in a real sentence, that helps your brain guess what the new words mean, and it locks them into your memory far better than flashcards ever could.
Let's jump into Section 3, mastering VU versus TU.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the stark cultural contrast between these two entirely different ways to say the word you. They mean the same thing, but they're worlds apart. TU is all about casual intimacy. You use it for one person, a child, a peer, family, friends, and yes, even your pets. Then we have VU. This is all about respectful distance. You use it for strangers, elders, professional settings like job interviews, or when you're addressing a whole group of people. If you drop a casual TU in the wrong context, native speakers might think you're being incredibly rude. So the golden rule from our sources, always start with VU. It's just the safest bet. Eventually, a French person might say, tu peux me tutoyer, which basically means you can address me with tu. And boom, you are officially in the inner circle.
All right, Section 4, Essential French Grammar Pillars.
Now, please don't let the word grammar scare you off. It's really just the basic survival rules of the system. Formal academic programs, like this syllabus from Texas Tech University, prioritize mastering the verb system, adjective agreement, and articles right out of the gate.
And they do this because once you actually understand the mechanics of the engine, you can build literally any sentence you want. So let's take a look at the biggest part of that engine, the verbs. To even begin conjugating a French verb, you first have to understand the infinitive. It sounds super technical, but the infinitive is literally just the original, untouched form of the verb, exactly as you'd find it in the dictionary. Think of it like to speak or to finish in English. Knowing how an infinitive ends is the secret little key that unlocks exactly how that verb is going to behave. So, French verbs are essentially chunked into 3 official groups based on those infinitive endings. The first group ends in er, like parler, meaning to speak. The second group is ir, like finir, to finish. And the third group, that's kind of the catch-all for weird endings like re, dre, and oir. The trick here is actually pretty simple. You just chop off that ending. That leaves you with the verb stem, like parl for parler. And then you just attach a new ending based on who is doing the action. Now, I do have to warn you, there are 2 massive exceptions you have to memorize immediately. Être, to be, and avoir, to have. They are highly irregular, they break all the rules, and they are absolutely indispensable. So the crucial point here is that this grammar extends far beyond verbs right into the nouns themselves. In English, we have it super easy. We just say the car, the boy, the apple. In French, there are actually 4 ways to say the, because every single noun has a gender. If the noun is masculine, you use le, like le garçon. If it's feminine, it's la, like la fille. Now, if the word starts with a vowel or a silent H, regardless of gender, you use L' to make it flow beautifully off the tongue, like l'hôtel. And if it's plural, you just use les. You absolutely have to learn the article at the exact same time you learn the vocabulary word from day 1.
And bringing it home with Section 5, top free learning resources. Okay, now that you've got the blueprint, the timeline, the immersion hacks, and those crucial grammar pillars, what are the actual tools you should be using to get your 600 hours? Well, we pulled this highly curated list of YouTube channels and podcasts straight from a massive consensus of successful language learners on Reddit. If you are at absolute zero, literal day 1, start with Coffee Break French. It explains everything in English while slowly introducing you to French. Once you've got a decent base, jump to Inner French. It's the absolute gold standard for A1 and A2 learners because the host speaks so incredibly clearly and slowly. Want to learn real street slang? Check out the street interviews on Easy French. For intermediate grammar deep dives, Français avec Pierre is fantastic. And once you're advanced and craving some native speed immersion, channels like Science Trash offer really fascinating animated science topics in French. Just pick the tool that perfectly matches where you're at on your timeline. All right, we've covered the practical tools you need to succeed. Now it's all about action. What digital device are you going to switch to French today? Your phone? Your Google search? Challenge yourself to take just one immediate step toward that 600-hour fluency goal right now. Look, language learning is a marathon. It is not a sprint. But every single hour counts. The blueprint is right there in your hands. The only question left is, what will your first word be?